Well, well, well. Fabulous friends, it is me, Mark Zombie. Yes, you might remember the Amira guy, the Fractal Replication guy, the Celestial Kimono and Diadem of Dreamsday guy. And some of you might be wondering, Mark, you haven't made a new video in 7 months. Well, I thought you quit YouTube out of embarrassment. Well, that is not far from the truth. But after the Diadem, Fractal Replication, and Celestial Kimono Marvel market has crashed, it's been a tough financially recovering, so I've had to pick up, some extra work, a second job maybe. But I'm back again today with another theory that is probably correct this time, and I can't wait to tell you about it. So let's get right into the video. And today we'll be talking about a future Flesh and Blood set. And now, I won't say I can almost guarantee you this is the next Flesh and Blood set, but I will say I am pretty confident that this will be a set in 2025. So we're going to start with the region I believe the set will take place in, some of the mechanics that I think will be found in this set, and probably the most exciting, the new class that I think will come with it. So I'd like to start things off with a card released in Part the Misfail, the Emissary of Tides. Now, I've actually had this card sitting on my desk for many, many weeks, probably months now, as just a encouragement to make this video, as this is kind of where the whole theory began. So, looking at the flavor text here, in the depths of the ocean, a world unseen awaits, where the song of the tides reveals secrets of a forgotten age. So that got me looking at the map of Wraith. And in the northwestern region, just above pits and metrics, we see this spike pit area in the middle of the water. And I think it might be connected to this unseen world in the depths of the ocean. Now, this spike pit was actually featured on a card in Rosetta, which is bringing us to our next slide here, Truce. We see in the Art of Truce, it is a mechanologist or someone from the metrics, with this very steampunk hand on the left, shaking hands with someone in Aria. And just underneath there is a map that has a dotted line that goes right through that spike pit. And apparently, someone at my LGS told me that there was an event at which an artist and James White were kind of doing a Q&A, and someone asked about this spike pit, and the artist kind of went to speak up, and James was like, psh, and completely cut him off. And now I know what you're thinking, Mark. Someone at your LGS, they told you that Amira was confirmed. Well, I'll have you know, me and this person, I don't really want to say their name, so I'm just going to make one up, Ian. We don't talk anymore, and this was a different person that I can totally trust, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And coming up next, we have a selection of cards that I believe take place in this region or around this region of the map. And just kind of going through these quick, we have the Talishar of the Lost Prince. It is very much like a pirate type sword with maps, and there's a skull with golden doubloons. The Kraken's Aether Vein, which of course like a kraken, like an undersea creature. It's also underwater and kind of has fins on it. The Quiver of the Abyssal Depths, same type of thing. Abyssal Depths, it looks like, squid, undersea tentacles and whatnot. Over Flex, you see a ranger standing on rocks with a sea monster behind it. Reelin, we see a group of pirates pulling in these octopus. Consuming Volition, we see someone who is lost at sea, perhaps, and little do they know, they are making out with a siren, and you can see that giant monster behind them. Cadaverous Contraband, we see people setting out on a voyage. Presumably they're leaving the pits, which of course is right next to that spike pit area. Trench of the Sunken Treasure, we see the pirates again. Drowning Dire, we see someone being pulled underwater by this skeletal creature. And lastly, we have the Eye of Ophidia, which you can see is underwater. There are fish featured in the artwork. There is also seaweed. And I think that spike pit could be something related to Ophidia. I also believe Ophidia could be in the title of the next set. And now I know what you're thinking. Mark, you said there's going to be a new class in this set. And I've seen DM Armada's latest video, and he talks about this pirate class. And I'm here to let you know that no, I do not think pirate will be the next class added to Flesh and Blood, but instead I think it will be the Necromancer. And moving on to the next two cards, we have Call to the Grave and Cut Through the Facade. Both of these were released in Rosetta. And looking at the artwork in Call to the Grave, we see a Necromancer. And how do I know it's a Necromancer? Well, they have skull shoulder pads. They are beckoning and summoning basically these underwater zombies from the water into the boat that she is standing in. She also is conjuring up this skeletal green ghastly spirit thing in her hand. And then in Cut Through the Facade, we see a pirate stabbing a necromancer. Again, the necromancer is wearing a skull belt. They look like a necro from Diablo 2. We see in the background of this card, there is a skeletal creature crying out in anguish as their master is being stabbed by this pirate. And of course, I'm sure many of us know that Necromancer is one of the classes that was featured in the original lore book that has not been yet added to the game. It's also probably has the loudest voice for people that want this class. The community, most people are asking about Necromancer when it comes to new classes being added to the game, at least from what I've seen. So I think it would be make a lot of sense for LSS to bring this class to life, and I think they have been setting up for it for some time now. I think this set will feature the classes Necromancer, Ranger, and possibly something like Mechanologist. That Spike Pit being close to the Metrix region, I could see them doing something like a underwater mech suit, kind of like Bioshock. And I think that we'll see a lot of cards that revolve around putting things on the bottom of your deck, like the sink below effect, essentially, and maybe even being able to play or interact with cards on the bottom of the deck. Now, LSS loves to do those very flavorful gameplay experiences, such as Chi and transcending the card, ascending off the table. And I think with sinking cards, it's kind of like this deep type thing, the depths. Legends of Runeterra had a similar mechanic where it's about cards at the bottom of your deck. So I think that could be cool to see. And we've actually already seen some cards that have this type of artwork that involve those things. So our first card featured here, the Trench of the Sunken Treasure, featuring a pirate. Put a face down card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck if you do gain one resource. And now looking at Drowning Dire. If you have played or created an aura this turn, Drowning Dire gains Dominate. And then when Drowning Dire hits, you may put a non-attack action card from the graveyard on the bottom of your deck. It is featuring the underwater with a skeleton pulling someone down and the bottom of the deck. And one of the other mechanics that I think we'll see in this underwater set will be graveyard interaction, because of course the Necromancer thematically will play from the graveyard. I can almost guarantee you that. They will rely on putting things in the graveyard, building up maybe their skeletons or summons or whatever, and then recurring them, summoning them from the grave. So in aligns with that, the Quiver of the Abyssal Depths, what does it do? Well, it takes 3 cards from the graveyard and puts them back in your deck. Let's go back one slide here and look at Call to the Grave. What does this do? You search your deck for a card and put it in your graveyard. Moving on to our last set of cards here, we have the Cadaverous Contraband. Again, this is a card that has the artwork of that region, cadaverous like a dead body. So Necromancer, this card involves putting cards from the graveyard on the top of your deck. We have Gravekeeping that was out in Mysteria. Now this doesn't have that water theme, but I think this is laying the foundation for cards that can combat the Necromancer strategy, because of course when this attack hits a hero, you can banish a card from the graveyard. It's also a very big flavor win if you're playing Gravekeeping against a Necromancer. And then Memorial Ground I threw in here because I could maybe see the Necromancer using it. It would also be kind of ironic for a Necro, someone who is raising things from the ground, to be playing Memorial Ground. The last image I have prepared for y'all today is this unused Kraken's Aether Vein art, which was recently revealed in a dev talk with James White and Brian Gottlieb. It's showing off this underwater region. You can see these hands reaching up towards the staff. That's one of the reasons why I feel it's coming soon. Things like Call to the Grave or Cut Through the Facade, the flavor text on Emissary of the Tides that we started the video with, and them kind of choosing to reveal this artwork to us. And in conclusion, I think a future Flesh and Blood set will be this underwater set that takes place near that big spike pit that we saw in the map of Truce and just in the map of Wraith. I think it will feature the Necromancer and Ranger classes. I think the mechanics will revolve around graveyard interaction and putting cards on the bottom of your deck and possibly playing cards from the bottom of your deck. And that's going to do it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed this theory video. I had a lot of fun making it. Please leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. I would like to make videos much more regularly than every 7 months, but seeing kind of like positive messages or, you know, interaction it is very encouraging, so I do appreciate that. I just won a ProQuest event on Uzuri, so up next my plan is to do kind of a deck tech / tournament report for that, so be on the lookout for that. I've also got endless ideas, honestly, in my little Milanote board for content, and yeah, thank you for watching.